In this eye-opening video, we delve into the aggressive climate policies championed by former President Trump, revealing how his administration is making strides that many believe undermine environmental progress. From the controversial withdrawal from the Paris Agreement to the declaration of a national energy emergency, it's clear that Trump is reshaping America's approach to climate. We'll explore key actions such as the appointment of Lee Zeldin as EPA Administrator, the revocation of Biden-era climate policies, and much more, illustrating how these moves are resonating across the nation. Join us as we dissect the ramifications of these decisions and ask whether Trump is truly winning the war on climate. 1. Withdrawal from the Paris Agreement. One of Trump's first actions upon returning to office was to sign an executive order titled, "Putting America First in International Environmental Agreements." This decisive move signaled the immediate withdrawal of the United States from the Paris Agreement. The Paris Agreement, a landmark in international efforts to combat climate change, aimed to limit global warming and reduce greenhouse gas emissions. Trump's decision reflects a dramatic pivot from international cooperation to a more isolationist stance, which he argues prioritizes American economic interests. Critics, however, see this as a significant setback in global climate efforts, potentially unraveling years of progress. The withdrawal has raised questions about the future of international climate commitments and the role of the United States in addressing global environmental challenges. 2. Declaration of a national energy emergency. In a surprising and unprecedented move, President Trump declared a national energy emergency. This declaration grants his administration expanded powers to fast-track fossil fuel development and streamline permitting processes. The aim is clear: to boost oil and gas production significantly. Trump argues that these steps are necessary to secure energy independence and strengthen the nation's economy. However, environmentalists are alarmed, fearing that this could lead to increased pollution and degradation of natural habitats. The declaration underscores the administration's focus on traditional energy sources, raising concerns about the long-term environmental impact of prioritizing fossil fuels over renewable energy alternatives. 3. Revocation of Biden-era climate policies. The Trump administration has been swift in revoking numerous climate-related executive orders and policies implemented during the Biden era. This shift marks a departure from renewable energy initiatives and a return to fossil fuel interests. Policies promoting clean energy, carbon reduction, and environmental protection are being dismantled, signaling a clear change in direction. The revocation of these policies has sparked a national debate about the future of energy in the United States. Proponents argue that this will lead to economic growth and job creation, while opponents fear it will undermine efforts to combat climate change and protect the environment. 4. Appointment of Lee Zeldin as EPA Administrator. In a controversial appointment, Lee Zeldin, a former New York congressman, has been confirmed as the new head of the Environmental Protection Agency, EPA. Zeldin is expected to lead efforts to roll back environmental regulations and promote fossil fuel interests. His appointment has been met with mixed reactions, with some praising his business-friendly approach while others express concern over potential environmental repercussions. Critics worry that his leadership will prioritize industry interests over public health and environmental protection. Zeldin's role will be pivotal in shaping the future of environmental policy under the Trump administration, with significant implications for climate change initiatives. 5. Data purge of environmental information. In a controversial move, the Trump administration has begun purging critical environmental and public health data from federal websites. This includes removing information related to climate change and environmental justice indices, which are vital for informed decision-making and public awareness. The data purge has raised alarm among scientists, researchers, and environmental advocates who rely on this information to track environmental changes and advocate for policy reforms. Critics argue that this hinders public access to important data and undermines transparency in government operations. The removal of environmental information is seen as a step backward in efforts to address climate change and ensure public accountability. 6. Encouragement of offshore drilling. The Trump administration has lifted restrictions on offshore drilling, opening up previously protected areas for oil and gas exploration. This includes regions in the Arctic and along the U.S. coastline, sparking concerns about potential environmental disasters and the impact on marine ecosystems. Trump's decision is part of a broader strategy to enhance energy production and achieve energy dominance. However, environmental groups warn of the risks associated with offshore drilling, including oil spills and disruptions to marine life. The lifting of restrictions highlights the administration's commitment to expanding fossil fuel development, despite the potential environmental consequences. 7. Industry support for policy changes. Major energy companies have expressed strong support for the Trump administration's actions, viewing them as opportunities to enhance production and expand market reach. Industry leaders argue that the policy changes align with their goals of achieving energy dominance and increasing profitability. The support from energy companies underscores the alignment between the administration's objectives and industry interests. However, this close relationship has raised questions about the influence of corporate interests on environmental policy decisions. The enthusiasm from energy companies highlights the economic motivations driving the administration's approach to climate and energy policy. 8. State-level reevaluation of climate policies. In response to the federal shift in climate policy, some states are reevaluating their own climate agendas. For instance, New York has delayed implementing certain climate-related taxes and initiatives due to concerns over increased consumer costs and political feasibility. The state-level reevaluation reflects the challenges and uncertainties that arise from the federal government's departure from climate commitments. State governments are grappling with balancing economic interests and environmental responsibilities in the face of changing federal priorities. The reevaluation of state-level climate policies underscores the complex interplay between federal and state actions in addressing climate change.